Well, good afternoon. My name is Garth Motschenbacher. I am the director of the Employer Relations team in the career office in the College of Engineering. I thought it would be important to framework my comments on three things that are true about me. First and foremost is I'm a citizen of the state of Michigan. Was the third baby born, I'm told by my parents, at Ingham Medical Center right here in Lansing, and then raised over in the Flint-Flushing area, found my way back to Michigan State. And so first and foremost, I'm a citizen of the state. Secondly, coming out of Michigan State, I took a job in accounting finance with General Motors up in the old Saginaw Steering Gear up in Saginaw, Michigan, and worked there for 5 years. Not all of it in accounting and finance. Found out quickly that that was not the path I was intended to play, but found a path within General Motors that worked for me, and concluded 5 years from there by coming back to Michigan State, not only to work but to pursue my advanced degree. Third thing you need to know is I'm a co-op guy. Through and through, I'm a co-op guy. Was introduced to co-op back at General Motors. Worked in the co-op program initially back at Michigan State when I was much younger. Took the job to direct the co-op team at Penn State back in the 90s. Found my way back to GMI, the old General Motors Institute, now Kettering University in Flint. Ran that co-op program for a number of years. And then found my way back here to Michigan State and started our Center for Spartan Engineering, where I currently work today in terms of the helping our students find internship, co-op, summer jobs, full-time work, educating them along the way, helping them explore careers, and finding out what they really want to do with their degree and degrees, not only at graduation, but while pursuing their degree. Let's talk about experiential education for a second. It is not a new concept. In 1908, Herm Schneider at the University of Cincinnati figured out that academics didn't have it all going on, that there were a number of things they needed to understand on how industry was utilizing the teachings that they were giving their students and the things their students were learning in industry that could be applied in the teaching in the classroom. Herm, noting this and noting industry local, made a deal with the local employers to send his students out on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday afternoons and work at local industry. On Friday, they'd all get together and decompress and basically facilitate what they learned. That was the initial concept of cooperative education, a training program between industry and academics that would allow the students to learn outside the classroom skill sets that were best learned outside the classroom and not necessarily in the classroom environment. When Jeremy was talking, he was talking about skill sets that we all need in industry, like communicating effectively, working on a team, critically thinking, problem solving, managing time and priorities. I would suggest to you that we in academia can't always do that real well in a classroom environment where we're trying to grade everybody individually and get everybody through a class in 15 weeks and all that kind of stuff. That is best done out in industry. That is best done in a hands-on environment. That is best done working and then guiding the learning and the evaluative thought that the student has in terms of what they're learning. Because if you do not reflect, you do not understand that you've just learned something that is very important and very pivotal. And going back, and it took me decades to learn this, growing up in Flushing, Michigan, I worked for 2 years at Flushing Pharmacy, back when pharmacies were not owned by huge conglomerates, but by local people. Howard Price, in that environment, employed 10 to 12 high school students every year in his pharmacy. I would submit to you, I learned more working for an entrepreneurial one-person owner than I did in any of my education at Michigan State. And I value my education at Michigan State. And I'm putting my MBA at risk too when saying that as well. I learned more from Howard than I did in my MBA classes. Hands-on learning really works, and it's not a new concept. So when I thought today about the concept of what we're trying to consider here, what we're thinking about in terms of not only attracting and recruiting, but retaining the workforce of tomorrow into the state of Michigan, it starts with making sure that the students, the young people today, understand the opportunities that are out there, are connected to those opportunities, and are guided through the things that they're learning through those opportunities. And let's step back for a second and suggest something else. A lot of people say, well, that's great for co-op, but we do internships, or we do part-time work, or we do summer employment, or we do externships. So let's just call it Garth's Fun Summer, all right? The key to all of this, I don't care what you call it. The key to all of this, and where we've dummied it down at Michigan State and the College of Engineering, if it's paid, career-related, evaluated, and supervised experience, that's what we want. We want our students to have those type of experiences before they graduate. Without it, they're just getting that degree with none of the special sauce on it. And the special sauce is what employers want on their food. Without it, the student is just another student. With it, they've got not only potential, but they've got actually some skill sets that have already been developed along the way. At Michigan State and the College of Engineering, we go so far as to give each one of our students a credit each time that they're off with one of these registered experiences, paid, evaluated, supervised, and career-related. They can earn up to 6 credits during their time as an undergraduate student at Michigan State and another 3 as a graduate student. And oh, by the way, for this credit, when they're off working, the employers pay them. On average, our engineering students get paid $18 an hour. Now, the political science students in the room, I'm sorry. I wish it could happen for you guys as much as it happens for the engineering students, but there are opportunities out there. I'm telling you, and more are coming, all right? But the idea that not only do they earn a credit, but they get paid is a really great combo. And I tell all the incoming freshmen's parents, man, school is expensive. And I know Michigan State is going to really eat into the checkbook and the savings and the loans and all that kind of stuff. So I tell them, I'm going to give you a scholarship up front right now today. A 6-credit scholarship. They're going to get paid for those 6 credits, i.e. the experiential education program within the College of Engineering. And by the way, our college pays a special scholarship to cover each time that student enrolls for the credit. So not only do they earn a credit, not only do they get paid for it, but we give them a scholarship to cover the cost of that credit, whether they're in-state, out-of-state, international, whatever. So they've just earned 6 free credits that they get paid for in order to move forward. And oh, by the way, in the departments of chemical engineering, material science, environmental engineering, electrical engineering, and computer engineering, they allow them to use not only those 6 credits towards graduation, but they allow them to bundle 3 or 4 credits and waive out a technical elective or a major elective course. It's that valuable. We're all fighting about the cost of attendance and the time to graduate. 6 credits, paid, waives technical electives. No building needs to be built. We don't need to hire anybody else. Employers are paying them. It's a scholarship, right? It's a paid scholarship. All good stuff. So those are the things that we're really building on in the College of Engineering. And I'm going to give you some examples. Because again, a lot of people understand this. And this is, by the way, not specific to Michigan State. Every university in the state has a co-op program. We sit with them regularly in a council atmosphere and talk about how come people don't recognize cooperative education. Because they get lost in that definition. Again, call it whatever you want. Paid, career-related, evaluated, supervised. Bazinga. That's what we want, right? We want those type of opportunities. So Dow Chemical, long established in the state of Michigan, now connected with DuPont and Dow Corning, and I don't exactly know what they're going to call themselves coming out of all of this. I've been told, but I can't remember. I haven't committed to memory yet. They have a long-standing traditional co-op program. Traditional in that they hire students and they expect students to complete 4 supervised, evaluated, paid, credited semesters of work, 2 of which have to be non-summer. They put them in different areas. They might put them in test 1 semester. They might put them in quality control another semester. They might put them in manufacturing a 3rd semester. They might put them in technical sales, or maybe we'll put them in HR. Maybe we'll put them in marketing. Maybe we'll put them in purchasing, because these future leaders, although they have engineering degrees today, are going to be utilized in a number of different areas tomorrow. Again, to create understanding of those critical skills, needs necessary, problem solving, communicating effectively, all those things that, again, Jeremy mentioned and more. Dow has a very traditional co-op program that they still do today. It's still alive and well and utilized by many different universities, including Michigan State. TechSmith, a company near and dear to our hearts here in the area of Lansing. I call it our own little Microsoft in Okemos. TechSmith out-recruits Microsoft. They out-recruit Amazon. They out-recruit Apple. They out-recruit any of those folks in the Silicon Valley that come out every year and put their flyers up and attend our career fairs. TechSmith out-recruits them. Here's how. TechSmith has figured out, you know what? We have a Big Ten large university just 5 miles to the north and west of us. And we have another Big Ten university just down a ways, about 60 miles from us. And so they make themselves very accessible to our students. They work with our students. They don't let the parameters of one semester define them. They have our students work part-time work that, yes, is career-related, supervised, evaluated, and paid at their site. They treat them as full team members. They work around the team member schedule. And so that student has classes on Monday and Wednesday and Friday till noon. Why don't you work in the afternoons on those days? You have a full day of classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's cool this semester. Just work those 12 hours on the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Hey, you want more hours? Why don't you come in on Saturday? And during the summer, full time, 40 hours, working on the team, working on a project, getting more and more experiences as they go. Some students work the entire 4 years at TechSmith. They exhaust the credits that I can give them in the EGR 393 experiential education course. But again, TechSmith, by utilizing that simple system, out-recruits, out-hires Amazon, Microsoft, Google, all those big boys that spend all kinds of dollars to come out here and recruit our students. Last example I'm going to give you is Quicken, downtown Detroit. You go back to 2012, Quicken had approximately, they're coming off a summer where they had 60 interns. Their team came to us and said, we're going to go crazy this summer. We're going to hire 250 interns. Can you help us? Absolutely, man. We'll put you front and center of every career fair. We'll start going at it. Next summer, 600. Next summer, 1,000. Next summer, 1,200. Last summer, 1,400 interns. They went to Dan Gilbert. They said, we go up this amount of money. You know how much money that's going to cost? He said, stop. It's not an expense. It's an investment. It's an investment in our workforce and the people that are going to be around our city and around our state for the future. Go for it, man. Go for it. Now, I'm paraphrasing. I don't know if he exactly said that. But bottom line is they're doing between 1,200 and 1,400 interns a year at Quicken. And we've got companies, large companies, name brand companies, company I could mention you today that say, we can't afford to have an intern or a co-op. Quicken's got 1,400 of them. And they don't intend to hire them all. They want to build a workforce that is well thought of for the future for the entire area of Detroit and state of Michigan. That's where we all have to get on board with. And so the Quicken example is a great example because I love that example in terms of what they're doing. Finally, I want to talk to you about a couple special programs that I think really, really work well for us, but I think have legs beyond just our college and just our university. And I'll step back and say for a second, young people of today, used to be in my age, salary was the #1 contributor to what I accepted as a job. GM had a very large salary when I came out of college, and so there was no thought other than General Motors. That has changed significantly. Today's market of college graduates looks first and foremost to brand and company image. They are a very brand-oriented group. And so your brand has to speak to them. It doesn't have to be the largest brand. It doesn't have to be the noisiest brand. It doesn't have to be the most recognized brand, but it has to be a brand and a company that speaks to them in terms of not only what they produce and how they produce it, but what is their general philosophy of the world, of the environment, of the way they're placing themselves in this area, right? In this industry, in this economic situation. And so students, #1, pick on that. #2, they pick is location. For all the folks that have children that are growing up, they will find their way back home. If there's an opportunity, they will find their way back here. I've got statistics to prove it. I don't care what the media writes about. I've got hard numbers that prove out that 60, 70% of our graduates come back to the state of Michigan. And I got others that are sitting in Tucson, Arizona, and Houston, Texas, and Austin, Texas, and Seattle, Washington, saying, I hate it here. I hate the weather here. It's too damn hot here. How can I get home? And there is no pathway currently for them to find a way home. So location is very important. And I'm telling you, today's grads of the state of Michigan, first and foremost, want to stay in the state of Michigan, or at least around the state of Michigan, if possible, for all the things that they grew up loving. #3 is culture and environment. Biggest thing I hear from our engineering students is, do not put me in a bunch of cubicles. I can't stand that. They want to see light. They want to see all kinds of folks. They want to see interactions. They love it when the CEO sits right in the middle of the room and everybody theoretically has access to them. And more companies, when you go to, whether it's Steelcase or you go over to General Motors, where again, so much change at General Motors since I was there. The leads don't have offices anymore. Those are used for meetings. They kind of bop in and out, might have a drawer or a special area where they lock stuff in, but that's it. Mary Barra, I think, is going to be recognized as one of the true great leaders ever down the road for what she is accomplishing at General Motors and what she's already accomplished. And that trend is happening across a lot of different companies in terms of what they're changing, and these traditional companies are now becoming cool again. Number 4 is job content, and then number 5 is salary. So again, to review, it's culture and brand of companies, number 1, location, number 2, culture and environment, number 3, job content, 4, and salary, 5. So PPG, the old Pittsburgh Paints Company and Glass Company that you remember, now has a freshman-only program. If you're a sophomore, you're too old. Juniors go away. Seniors, where were you when you were a freshman? They only hire freshman students. They hire them for 1 week. They bring them in August. And it's a week-long interview to make sure that the student likes them and they like the student. At the end of that week, they are given an offer and an offer of placement for a full ride internship co-op, our summer fun time, the next summer. And they're paid for that week while they're there. It's called their primer program. It's becoming hot. More and more organizations are doing something with those freshmen, realizing, as I realized when I was at Kettering University, that freshmen can do a lot of things that are valuable to organizations. And if you want the top talent, you've got to start early. You cannot wait till they're seniors. I laugh when companies call me and they say, we want the best and brightest of your senior class. Where were you 4 years ago? In fact, where were you when they were in high school? Because more and more people are reinitiating high school co-op and internship programs. And by the way, when I was at General Motors, we had 100 high school co-ops working in my location, not across the corporation, but in my location back then. We've got to get back to that type of stuff. Early. Summer programs and semester programs, location. We do special program now in our office where it's Lansing, Jackson, Detroit, and Grand Rapids, where we take our co-op students and all those things that we have them do reflectively online, we take it offline and we do it through physical connections, through networking opportunities, through social opportunities, through professional development. We tour places, we get together because we want them to understand not only are they working at Steelcase, not only working at General Motors, not only working at Consumers Energy, but there's a great city around them, a lot of great resources. We want to get them out of their apartment, out of their cubicle, and out into the streets to understand the cities and places that we have to play and live in the state of Michigan. Who knew Jackson had it going on? We threw that program together. I said to Kyle, are you crazy? Jackson was my favorite program last year. The students loved it. We've got students re-upping again. Can we do it again? So there's a lot of great things happening in our cities, and we have to show the students. And so, again, our program is doing that. And then onboarding, last thing I'm going to comment on. Companies are sitting there spending so much time sometimes on internship co-ops and first year, and then they forget about you. And then 10 years down the road, they check in to see if you're still there or not. Guess what? Most people are leaving. The attraction and recruitment doesn't work if you don't retain them. The best companies are onboarding people for 10 years now. 10 years. 10 years they're investing in them. 10 years they're training them. 10 years they're telling them how valuable they are to the future of the company. 10 years they're doing special programming for them. 10 years they're out there helping them develop their career in order to make sure their career is everything they need it to be and want it to be within that organization, within that industry. You can't do it in a one-day onboarding session. I'm sorry, that doesn't work. You've got to do it through a number of things throughout the early years of somebody's career, and the best and brightest companies are doing it in 10 years. I know I'm out of time. I'll take questions at the end. Thank you very much.